You're watching the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to for accurate, dependable weather forecasts 24 hours a day.
This morning's weather is sponsored by 100% Colombian coffee, the richest coffee in the world.
Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. We have a look at our current weather map, and we have a storm to beat all storms. This one will go down as probably the great storm of 1993. Great as in tremendous, and its effects being tremendous too, bringing blizzard conditions to areas of the deep south. Also, some very heavy thunderstorms across Florida. Especially last night, areas of western Florida hit very hard with thunderstorms. Those are now off the coast of Florida. Blizzard conditions, Atlanta over to Birmingham, right on over to Chattanooga, right on up through the Appalachians, and the heavy snow continues through Pennsylvania, now over to New York. Here's the situation. Behind the storm, we are looking at calmer winds, so the calm after the storm in this case, the skies begin to clear as we make our way west of the Mississippi River, but still snowing northeast areas of Mississippi. Still a large portion of Alabama seeing snow, and just an example of how far south the snow has made it. 2 inches of snow at Mobile, Alabama. Also now, not snowing there, but a little bit over to the east around Tallahassee. They're picking up some snow. That is a rare occurrence. Heavy snow in Atlanta, right on up to Chattanooga, through the mountains of the Great Smokies into Tennessee and North Carolina. Snowfall amounts there have been 1 to 2 feet, and reports Mount Mitchell, North Carolina, that's western North Carolina, drifts up to 5 feet, and that report came in about an hour and a half ago. Not only are we looking at a bunch of snow and thunderstorms, but also coastal flood watch is still posted from Apalachicola all the way down toward the coast around Cape Sable. To the north, heavy snow. It's snowing heavily around New York City. Reports of southern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, to the west of Philadelphia, snow now totaling between 7 and 9 inches. Snowing heavily around the Washington, D.C. area and around Baltimore, right on down through West Virginia, and plenty of rain. The rain is picking up on the East Coast, and the wind is going to pick up too. Again, not only are we looking at very heavy snows for the interior section, especially of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, look for wind-whipped waves, coastal beach erosion as waves offshore approach 20 feet. So very high surf, and also very strong winds, which could approach hurricane force, even exceed hurricane force. Again, here's the pieces put back together with a tremendous storm heading up the East Coast. To the western United States, just a little bit of light rain making their way into northern California. Snowfall amounts so far totaling over a foot central Alabama, over a foot North Georgia mountains through eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, areas of the mountains of West Virginia into southern Pennsylvania, not far behind before making it over the 1 foot mark. Let's take a look at the satellite photograph, and we'll show you the storm coming together. Again, looking at this here, the yellows and the reds indicate high thunderstorm tops, and those are the most intense thunderstorms. Those have now passed Florida, so folks in Florida can rest easy now. The thunderstorm threat is over with. Farther to the north, though, notice the blue clouds in Alabama and Georgia. That still indicates snow that's falling, and still quite heavily. An occasional clap of thunder still present in some of the heavier snows, especially in western Georgia, right on up through the Carolinas. Plenty of heavy rain downpours in eastern North Carolina northward. Here's a look at Atlanta, Georgia today. Around the Weather Channel, blizzard conditions visiting not only Atlanta, but over to Birmingham, northward. Blizzard conditions visiting the deep south all the way up to New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington. Boston's going to see blizzard conditions. These pictures here were before the snow began to really pick up too. Let's take you into the forecast and show you what the East Coast can expect. By midday today, we should expect the storm centered right around Fayetteville, North Carolina. Again, the storm is still intensifying. It's going to intensify as it makes its way right on up through Maryland, eventually over toward Maine. So the big cities in the east, definitely be prepared for heavy snow today. Possibility of briefly switching over to maybe some sleet or even rain along the coast of the Mid-Atlantic, but the low is going to shoot right up the coast, so Sunday morning, more snow wrapping right back in, although the heaviest snow by far today for the big cities in the Northeast, probably later this afternoon, right into the early evening hours. Rainfall heavy on the coast, but inland it will be snow 2 to 4 feet locally. Still heavy snows down to North Georgia and other heavy snows in the Oregon Cascades. Teens and 20s today, very cold air making its way all the way to the south. Just when you thought it was safe to go outside and maybe plant the garden for this weekend, look at this, incredible. Tonight's low temperatures could bring a damaging freeze all the way down to North Florida, so take precautions now. Sunday's high temperature still bitterly cold in the northeast. Meanwhile, the western United States, Southern California, Arizona, sunshine today and mild temperatures too. Here's our forecast. Again, Sunday showing the storm in New England gradually winding up as it heads up toward Canada. A couple other weak disturbances visiting the northern tier of the United States. Coming up next on the Weather Channel, we have a look at the ski conditions for the western United States, and we'll also keep you updated on this storm.
I love you.
Champagne is now being served on the after deck.
By the way, when will your inheritance come through?
Lobster is now being served on the promenade
I
deck.
love your villa at Monte Carlo.
Colombian coffee is now being served in the starboard side lounge. No wonder so many people's preferences lean toward 100% Colombian coffee. It's the richest coffee in the world. Handpicked by Juan Valdez.
Look for the symbol of Juan Valdez on these fine 100% Colombian coffee brands.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. The regional forecast. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away. Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away. The Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away.
In the United States than anywhere else in the world. Over 80% of all severe thunderstorms and tornadoes occur between noon and midnight. To survive tornadoes, it is important to react to a tornado watch or warning.
A watch means the potential is there, the ingredients are coming together, that later on during the day there could be a tornado. Now, tornado warning means all these ingredients have come together. Warning means you need to take necessary precautions immediately.
When a tornado warning is issued for your community, stay away from windows, go to the lowest floor of a building, into a bathroom or closet. Protect yourself under something sturdy. Leave your mobile home or car. If you are outside, lie flat in a ditch. Beware of possible flooding. Thunderstorms and tornadoes can happen so rapidly that you may not get a warning. So if there is a watch in your area, be aware of developing weather conditions. I'm Jeff Morrow, the Weather Channel.
High in the California Sierra, Donner Pass is blanketed with snow. In places, the snow measures 9 feet. Good news to those who keep an eye on such things. Randall Osterhuber works at a snow measuring station for the state and understands the importance of a large snowpack.
About 50% of California's usable water comes from the melting Sierran snowpack, so it's very important.
The snow melts in the spring and runs off into local reservoirs. Lake Folsom, one of the largest in Northern California, relies on the runoff. Recent rains have built the reservoir to 1/3 of capacity, the highest level in some time. When full, the lake plays a big part in the recreation industry and is an important part of the local economy.
Not only has the recreation use of the reservoir diminished dramatically, but the economic impact on the recreation industry in the suburban Sacramento area has been dramatic.
Many hope the economic tide will soon turn as lake levels rise. Initial signs are encouraging as the snowpack is at its deepest in several years. I'm Jim Cantori, the Weather Channel.
One of the hazards of winter is a weather phenomenon called sleet. Communities can be forced into a complete standstill when the icy precipitation falls to the ground. A sleet with snow mix can make the roads slick. Driving becomes a problem and a hazard. Sleet pellets are small, solid grains of ice which are formed from freezing raindrops. The sleet process begins as snow falling from a cloud, which then comes into contact with a thin layer of warmer air, which turns the snow into rain. The rain then refreezes when it re-enters the cold air. It then hits the ground as frozen water, known as sleet. I'm Jeff Morrow, the Weather Channel.
And good afternoon, good morning, and thanks for tuning in. We're going to take a look at our winter storm update. Once again, we want to apologize from the Weather Channel here. We're having some problems with the power, and located in Atlanta, Georgia, we're kind of in the heart of the storm right now, and we're keeping an eye on it for you, and we're going to continue to do so throughout the afternoon hours, so stay with us here. And we're noticing that we've had already record snows. Birmingham, Alabama, Chattanooga, Tennessee, both coming in about 13 inches of snow on the ground. That is new records for them. Atlanta, Georgia, the snow is coming on down there with the winds. And of course, you can imagine, as you've seen at home there, problems with the power. And that's going to be the case with this storm because the winds are whipping in out of the northwest right now throughout Atlanta at about 37 to 40 miles an hour as this thing is cooking on by. We're going to take you in for a closer look then. Now the storm system is moving into eastern parts of Georgia. We're getting a wraparound now with northwesterly winds, and those winds, in fact, are affecting parts of Florida as well. So the entire state right now under a high wind advisory for at the afternoon hours. Florida was hit very hard last night with tornadoes, and even a couple of people lost their lives around Tampa due to the very strong storms that whipped through the area. That's just one effect of this storm. The other effect, of course, is the snow and the very heavy rains that are occurring, especially along the North Carolina coast at this hour around Elizabeth City. Take cover, folks, because we have had reports of tornadoes, in fact, in parts of North Carolina as this thing is coming on through. So look for coastal flood watches for the western shores of Florida for today, as we're going to have very, very strong winds, as I mentioned, and then we're also going to keep in mind that we do have coastal flood warnings all up and down the northeastern part of the country. Here's some snowfall totals. As I mentioned, Birmingham and Chattanooga, those are all-time records for those two cities. Asheville, North Carolina, 13 inches. Marietta, Georgia now with 6 inches, which is just a suburb of Atlanta here. And we are talking about major snow coming down. I mean, you know, even 6 inches up in the north may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when this happens in the south, it really does paralyze a lot of the cities. And even for the folks in Mobile, Alabama, I mean, you have to imagine this is along the Gulf Coast, and we're talking about a couple of inches of snow here. Snow's just starting around New York City over the last couple of hours. We've already seen 3 inches of snow, and it's snowing very heavily right now around the Newark, New Jersey area. Very heavy snows coming down as well around Baltimore and D.C. And we're going to see some snowfall totals that are very impressive. In fact, we've seen the records. The records will continue to fall by the wayside as this storm system moves up the eastern seaboard. I mean, basically, this is the storm that is going to beat all-time records all over the place. A very powerful storm, one of the most powerful storms we've seen probably in this century as it continues to move north and east. So we'll continue to see 2 to 4 feet of snow in some locations. I mean, paralyzing the entire area. The best advice I can give you right now is just sit tight, sit at home, stay with us here at the Weather Channel off and on throughout the daytime hours. We'll keep you updated on the storm because indeed it is very intense, and it is not advised to get out on the roadways because more than likely your car's not going to make it very far. Then you'll have to get out in the wind and the snow, and that could lead to some troubles there. All right, blizzard conditions then will continue right on through to the Gulf Coast states. We are seeing some snows in Panama City continue around to Pensacola and Tallahassee as well. So the spring breakers have got to take a break from the beach today and, of course, get out there and enjoy the snow. And that's going to continue all the way up into the northeast as we head even into tonight. And tomorrow morning, we'll see the snows start to shift their way into the northeast. Parts of Vermont and Maine will start to see the snow. We're already seeing snow in parts of Vermont and New Hampshire at this hour. So that shows how far north the moisture is working when the low pressure center is still so far to the south. So stay with us here at the Weather Channel. We are going to keep you updated on this major storm.
Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away. Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away. The Weather Channel is experiencing some temporary technical problems, which we'll have fixed just as soon as we can. Stay tuned. We'll be back with your weather information right away.
Thanks for joining us back here at the Weather Channel. We do sincerely apologize. We are experiencing some of the effects of the great storm of 1993, and that is power outages. And it is possible we could experience a few more of those. We are experiencing heavy snow also, extremely windy conditions here at the Weather Channel. Let's take a look at the current situation, and there's the low pressure area. In eastern Georgia, it is still whipping snow through northern Georgia, northern areas of Alabama, through the Appalachians, and extremely heavy snow also now falling around Philadelphia and New York City. The snow just beginning to wind down around North Georgia, although still another several inches of snow could fall before it's all said and done. This area low pressure tracking to the north. Here's some scenes from the Weather Channel early this morning, and keep in mind this is when the snow was very light. Atlanta metropolitan area has a blizzard warning in effect. Birmingham, Alabama has now officially reported this is the biggest snowstorm they've ever had. They have at least 13 inches of snow. Chattanooga, Tennessee, just up the road a little ways, 13 inches of snow, and reports of 1 to 2 feet of snow in the North Georgia mountains. Reports of 5-foot drifts up on top of Mount Mitchell in western North Carolina. And here's a look at Chattanooga, Tennessee, with very heavy snow falling there. Again, over a foot of snow. More snow is on the way for eastern Tennessee. This is some of the snow that folks in the Northeast will experience. Even right now, the snow's picking up. We've had some Weather Channel viewers call and say that southeast Pennsylvania snow's totaling already upwards of near 10 inches. And more snow, again, is on the way. Midday forecast today. Low pressure should be centered right around Fayetteville, North Carolina, so the heavy snow in New York City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Washington, back through the Alleghenies into the mountains of West Virginia should continue and intensify, actually. And the big cities in the east likely to pick up probably a total of 6 to 12 inches, and it is not out of the question of a 1.5 feet of snow. The big question will be late this afternoon and tonight when the possibility of some warm air makes its way, especially the coastal sections of New England and the mid-Atlantic, may briefly change precipitation over to sleet or rain, but chances are by Sunday morning we will find the rain or sleet changing back over to snow in New England. So this great storm that is sliding right on up the East Coast, a powerful storm, a dangerous storm, which brought severe thunderstorms to Florida. Thunderstorm threat for Florida is now over. Very windy conditions likely to make their way up the coast. Wind gusts could be hurricane force or greater from the Carolinas along the coast right on up through coastal areas of New England. Seas will be very high offshore, 10 to 20 feet. Here's a look at temperatures for your Saturday. Today, bitterly cold, 20s and dropping areas of Tennessee and southward. And certainly be prepared in northern Florida. Hard freeze possible for the northern sections of the state of Florida. Teams visiting Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Below zero, Minnesota and Wisconsin. So just when it seemed like the warm weather was around for a little while and maybe it's time to plant a garden, it said springtime on the calendar. We are back in the heart of winter with a vengeance. Over to the southwest, temperatures in the 70s and the 80s. So as the east takes this tremendous storm on the chin, the southwest is relaxing under sunshine. Eventually, some of the southeast will moderate, but the northeast really isn't going to moderate until about Tuesday. So there will be a bunch of snow continuing on the ground for probably midweek. Temperatures looking real nice in the south midweek, although a little bit of a cool snap coming down for the Great Lakes again. Sunday's forecast, the blizzard of 93 should be in New England for tomorrow, bringing very heavy snows and high winds through New York and Maine. Still windy conditions, especially from Pennsylvania down through North Carolina. Winds should taper off in Florida and Georgia. Over to the Pacific Northwest, our neighbors there experiencing some rain on the coast, and we'll see a little bit of snow in the mountains for the skiers thinking about heading to the slopes for this weekend. Monday's forecast, a little bit of a weakening trend of the storm system, and after this terrible storm making its way up the East Coast, the weather pattern decides to relax, although by Tuesday and Wednesday, a couple different areas of low pressure, one across Maine, dragging some snow showers, eventually showers to the south. Northern California, some rain, and the coast of Oregon, a little bit of rain for Wednesday, too. Coming up shortly, we'll have more details about the blizzard of 1993.
And good morning. The Waking Up weather is sponsored by mountain-grown Folgers coffee. Folgers, the best part of waking up. Okay, folks, take you to a radar picture right now and show you, boy, what a storm indeed we're experiencing across the southeastern United States. And we do want to apologize here at the Weather Channel. We've had several claps of thunder and so forth, power outages throughout the area, which we're located in Atlanta, Georgia. We're kind of in the heart of the storm right now. So we apologize for that. Please stay with us throughout the daytime hours because we're going to do everything we can to keep you updated on this storm as it continues to move through the southeast, dropping record-type snows, and now it's heading up into the mid-Atlantic and the northeast, and we will continue to see the record snows and the blustery, windy conditions associated with this storm. And here in Atlanta, we've seen winds upwards of 40 miles an hour with gusts even higher, and already about 7 inches of snow on the ground in Georgia. So indeed, a rare event for the southeastern United States, and it's going to be a rare event basically for the eastern third of the nation as we watch this system churn throughout the area. A closer look then across the Virginias. Notice the dark green there around D.C. and Salisbury. That's an indication of the heavy snows, and in fact we've had reports of tornadoes in parts of eastern North Carolina. So folks, that line that you see just moving through Elizabeth City there on the radar picture is an indication of where we had some strong thunderstorms. It's actually raining pretty good along the coast from Elizabeth City down throughout Hatteras and New Bern, and then as you head to the north, that is all snow and very heavy snow around D.C., Baltimore, Dover, and Salisbury. So the snows are definitely starting to pick up in parts of the northeast. Okay, a closer look then around Georgia. We notice the dark green band that's moving through Athens and up toward Anderson is also containing a little bit of sleet with it, believe it or not. Around Anderson, we've got all snow, and then just up the road a piece, we've got a little bit of sleet mixed in there. Still some heavy snows over Atlanta. In parts of northern Georgia, we've had reports of upwards of 1.5 feet of snow in the North Georgia mountains up toward Chattanooga, several inches of snow there as well. We also had some storm problems overnight in parts of Florida. Right now, things are really shaping up very nicely across Florida. Big storms passed through the area, causing even a couple of people to lose their lives around Tampa with the strong storms. Some snow, you see the blinks there on the top of your screen around Pensacola and Panama City, is actually reports of snow. Believe it or not, that snow has made it all the way to the Gulf Coast, from Panama City and Pensacola all the way over toward Tallahassee. I want you to show you some video now out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is record snow event for the folks in Chattanooga. They have seen 13 inches of snow. The snow is still coming down pretty hard around parts of eastern Tennessee from Bristol on back throughout Crossville and Chattanooga. So more snow on the way. Definitely a record-setting storm indeed as we watch this thing really continue to move through the area with the blizzard-like conditions. So here are some of the snowfall totals that we have so far for you. Birmingham and Chattanooga both coming in with 13 inches. Those are all-time records since records began, since they began keeping the records. Asheville, North Carolina as well coming into snow, still coming down very hard around Asheville. Montgomery, Alabama, 4 inches there. Even New York City coming in with 3 inches there. Mobile, Alabama along the coast, 2 inches as well. And we are looking at more snow. And check out the area there in white indicating where we could see a foot plus. Most locations are going to see upwards of 2 to 4 feet before the snow is through with the area. So it's moving very quickly, actually. Most of the precipitation has been moving off to the northeast at about 70 miles an hour, believe it or not, but it is just dumping tremendous amounts of snow as it passes through the area. So gear up for some heavy snow. Stay off the roadways, folks. Just stay at home. Stay with us here at the Weather Channel, and we'll keep you updated on the storm. Don't go outside, really. You don't need to go outside for any reason whatsoever. I know the snow looks kind of pretty, but the winds are really coming in very, very strong throughout the area, and you're not going to get very far in the car before it does stall out, and wind chills are going to be dangerously low as we watch this thing develop. So look for blizzard conditions for most of the northeast. Actually, I would say the eastern third of the nation is under the gun aside from Florida as far as the snow goes. So we're going to continue to watch this thing move quickly up the Atlantic seaboard throughout the daytime hours. Not only are we talking about the strong snows, we're talking about the winds. We've had actually reports of trees down in Cobb County in Georgia, which is where basically where the Weather Channel is from the wind. So therefore, there's where the power lines and so forth come into play here. Let's make sure we know our winter safety tips as we begin the travels. Make sure that actually don't even travel. Let's just put it that way. Have batteries. Stay indoors. Make sure you have some heat in the house, some alternative heating if your power does go up. There's our area of low pressure churning through the area. We've had reports of tornadoes and wind damage, as I mentioned yesterday, in Florida. Here's our reports of a coastal flood watch in effect for today, and that continues up the east coast as we see basically the area in red talking about coastal flood warnings.
Every morning, everywhere, when the sun wakes up the sky, let go, just be there to open up your eyes. It's so stirring, nothing that aroma can waking you and me, waking everyone in harmony. Best part of waking up is soldiers in your house.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. The current local conditions. The regional forecast. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past night. Coming up, more local information here on the Weather Channel. Get a good start to your morning with this morning's weather. 25 and 58 minutes after every hour, between 5 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern, only on the Weather Channel.
Uh-oh. Ouch. Yuck.
Don't you sometimes wish you could grow a special hand? Well, now there's Grip and Grab. No more uh-ohs, no more ouches, no more yucks. Use Grip and Grab to get into narrow jars, handle hot things, and retrieve lost items. The precision groove grippers grasp firmly onto anything, and the automatic locking mechanism holds tight, even by itself. You'll also grab onto these mini grabbers. They solve life's little problems, like that disappearing sweatshirt cord and clogged up shower drain. But there's still more. Order now and you'll get 2 different steel grabbers. They tackle the toughest chores and the most delicate. What a convenience. You get the complete set for only $19.95. So grab the phone and order now.
To order, call 1-800-382-6111. That's 1-800-382-6111. Or send $19.95 plus $4.50 postage and handling to Grip and Grab, P.O. Box 2001-WC, Murray Hill Station, New York, New York.
Whether you drive on the Autobahn or some country road, Intercar has a world-renowned German-engineered automobile that's perfect for you. From dependable Volkswagens, to stylish Audis, to an elegant Mercedes-Benz, to sporty Porsches. When you want a car that's built to last at a price for any budget, Intercar on Route 206 north of Newton is your high-line, low-price leader.
I was doing the system installation the other day, and there was this little kid. He said, "What's that?" "Tell him it's a water conditioner for cleaner clothes." Later, I'm installing a drinking water system, and the kid says,
"What you doing under the sink all day, man?"
I tell him I'm making his water taste better.
Cool.
Cool.
Hey, Coggy Man!
For a free in-home water analysis, call your participating Culligan dealer. He's underwater in the Yellow Pages.
Accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. The current local radar showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color. From the Weather Channel, America's primary source for weather information, the Weather Classroom, a complete unit for teaching basic meteorology, climatology, and our environment. The Weather Classroom, an 80-page, fully illustrated textbook workbook with experiments and activities to let students enjoy a hands-on, up-close experience with weather. The Weather Classroom, a regular on-air program with exciting and dramatic examples of weather in action. Find out how you can offer the Weather Classroom to your students. Contact your local cable operator right away. It's not easy knowing how to dress your kids for school every day. Will it rain? Will it storm? Will it be cool? Will it be warm? Don't despair. Dressing your kids for school can be downright elementary when you watch the school day forecast on the Weather Channel. So make it a rule to see us before you see them off. The school day forecast, weekday mornings, 35 minutes after the hour on the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to.
Add a piece of chicken, add a piece of fish. As long as you can add a piece to any meal you wish, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
Buy any Long John's meal and add a piece. Fish for 75 cents, chicken for 65, or shrimp for 35.
Fish, shrimp, and chicken, crispy and delish. Mix them up and match them and any meal you wish. Yeah, we can do that. Long John Silver. Go fish.
Go for fish, 3 delicious shrimp plus fries, all just $1.99.
Go fish with Long John Silver's, where America goes for fish.
Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Channel. We have a look at first this current weather scenario that we are looking at, and we have some of that snow coming down from Georgia right on into areas of the Appalachians and even a little bit farther to the north. Heavy snow falling around New York City. Thunders heard with the storms there. snow falling heavily around Philadelphia. Reports of upwards of 10 inches of snow around Philadelphia. Farther to the south, reports from western North Carolina from around Mount Mitchell, drifts up to 5 feet. Birmingham, Alabama has reported this is their biggest snowstorm ever. And here it is, happening in the middle of March. Snow as far south as Tallahassee, Florida. The snow behind the storm yesterday, or I should say last night, we were looking at a little bit of the thunderstorms approaching Florida. Coming up next, we have a look at some more details of this major winter storm heading up the East Coast.
Skiers, call 1-900-WEATHER for detailed regional ski forecast to help you choose when and where to ski. 95 cents a minute, 1-900-WEATHER.
At S&M Pontiac Buick Oldsmobile GMC truck, the hardest thing about buying a car is deciding which one of the new 1993 models you want. The Grand Am's anti-lock braking system is a customer stopper. There's Buick's symbol of quality, the LeSabre, and the sporty and stylish Oldsmobile Achieva, or the Jimmy 4-door, perfect for family or business. See and drive all four at one place. S&M Pontiac Buick Oldsmobile GMC truck of Route 23 in Sussex. What would happen to your family if you could no longer provide for them?
What would happen to your family if you were no longer here? Please consider these low-cost term insurance rates that follow.
For peace of mind, call the Malk Agency today at 729-9080 for a no-obligation price quote. At the Malk Agency, we can structure your future plans so you have peace of mind. It won't be long before they're ready to go to college. Plan ahead. Call the Malk Agency. For almost 2 decades, the Malk Agency has provided Sussex County with all of your insurance, retirement planning, and college funding needs. Invest with peace of mind. Invest with the Malk Agency.